Great. Good, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy that you joined us this early morning on the last day of the fourth International Total Worker Health Symposium. I hope you've had a great time listening in on various sessions and keynotes and so on. I know I have, and I can't thank Lily and her team enough for the great job that they've done putting this together. I'm so glad that we can be together this morning. Yes, yes, accolades to Lily and her team. Uh, I'm happy to have us together this morning in order to tell you about what's happening with Total Worker Health Society. And we have all of our members here today. And so we'll be presenting what the current status of the society is, and also what we are planning to do in the future, particularly next year, and then on from there. And then we will have a time, I hope, to be able to get questions from you. And so, think about what you want to ask, but we'll go ahead. All right, next slide. So just to remind everyone, Um, the Society is a nonprofit member organization of individual professionals, including both nonprofit and for-profit entities, and we're all dedicated to the advancement of worker health, safety, well-being, and productivity through the total worker health approach. Our vision is to serve as a hub, a community for sharing new and innovative ideas to expand total worker health research, training, education, dissemination, and real-world solutions. It's a place for occupational safety and health and other professionals to engage across traditional disciplines, and I will add non-traditional disciplines as well. So we're going to be expanding our network, hopefully in 2026 and onward. Next slide. So the governance for the society consists of me, Christina Banks, the president for 2025, President-elect John Doney, and when I say your name, just wave. Past President Lily Tenney, Secretary Matt Law, and Treasurer David Shapiro. You'll be hearing from most of these folks a little later in this presentation. I also want to point out our advisory panel chair, David Daniels, as well as our communications and membership chair, Serena Rice, who's running the show here, and program chair, Lindsay Maurer. Wonderful folks, worked hard this year through these very tumultuous times. We really didn't know what was going to happen to total worker health very early in the year. And it has straightened out a little bit, but we now know that we need to work pretty hard to keep total worker health alive and blooming and flourishing in the future. So we'll tell you more about that in a minute. Next slide. So we're going to start telling you about the various parts of the society, the officers and the chairs who are going to tell you what's their current status. So I'm going to turn it over to David Daniels.
Thank you very much, Madam President. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to greet so many of our members this morning. Wanted to share for those who maybe hadn't heard of the advisory panel. The advisory panel is a group of representatives of organizations that are approved by the board of directors to provide guidance, advice, and support of the overall mission of the society. Um, we are individual members, but individual members bring organizations with them. And this is a list of the list that you see is some of the organizations. The next slide, please, has another list of some of the organizations that are represented on the advisory panel. This isn't a set list. And as we get into next year, there is conversation about expanding this list. There's a belief that the advisory panel needs to reflect the membership of the society, which means we'll be reaching out to other individuals that represent other associations, other industries, other voices, and that supports, again, next slide, supports these ideas that we have in 2026. We do want to explore methods to continue the evolution of the advisory panel. Advisory panels tend to be set up when organizations are new, and we want to continue to evolve as the society evolves, as the society decides on different paths to take, different initiatives to execute. We want to make sure that we have a support system of folks who have expertise in those areas. No one of us can be exceptional at everything, and we're fortunate enough to have folks with a lot of background in a lot of areas, but there are other areas that we probably don't have right now, but we will certainly need as we move forward. We also want to continue to solidify as a new organization, as a society as a whole. It's, you know, for those of you who have children, as children grow, as small humans grow, their their bodies have to grow before they can go out and execute on some of the things that we expect them to do. So we are one of those organizations who our skeleton needs to continue to grow. Our circulatory system needs to continue to develop, and we want to make sure for the panel itself that we're following in that mode. And we also, again, as I mentioned, want to continue to diversify the panel such that it represents the wide breadth that we talk about as a society. If we're going to be a big umbrella, have a big tent, we're going to need advice and counsel from folks across the spectrum so we can really execute on this idea of being a place where multiple disciplines get together and talk and deliberate about the concept of total worker health. That's it for me. Pass the baton.
Thank you, David. And should anyone attending the meeting today be interested in serving on the advisory panel, I think the first step is to contact the president or the chair of the group that you belong to and see if it is represented. And if it is not, then identify yourself as someone who wants to sit on the panel, and hopefully you can take it from there. But we do want your participation. That's a very important part of our governance system, in that the advisory panel really does give us advice, and that's how we want to operate. Okay, and Serena has reminded me, and thank you for saying that, Serena. Uh, if you would please introduce yourself in chat to everyone, it will be wonderful to see who's here and for everybody to see who else is here. Okay, let me turn over the mic to David Shapiro, who's our treasurer now, and just got reelected to the board. So, David, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Christina. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. My name is David Shapiro. I use he, him pronouns. I work at the Centers for Health Work and Environment at the Colorado School of Public Health, and I'm honored to be the treasurer for the Society for Total Worker Health since our inception. So I got to see some of you 3 years ago in 2022 when we launched the society. I'm grateful to be here today to provide a little bit of words about financially what's going on with the society, and also have been elected to another 2-year term for 2026 and 2027. I think the biggest news to mention, or I feel like the biggest news to mention to all of you, is the financial independence that the society secured in 2025. So the big news from last year's meeting was that we had secured our 501(c)(3) status through the federal government. This year's big news is we've moved all of our banking out of the University of Colorado's banking system and into our own bank account. So we are off and on our own. I appreciate the analogy that my friend and colleague David Daniels talked about in terms of the growth developmentally of our society. This is a major step into adolescence in terms of having our own bank account in our own checking book and checkbook and credit card. So we're really honored that we have this opportunity to do so. I'll talk about numbers in a moment, but just for people to recognize, I first of all want to thank and honor the Centers for Health Work and Environment at the Colorado School of Public Health, and who have been our fiscal stewards and agents up until 6 months ago. Our banking was through the University of Colorado, and on screen here we have a picture of me and Dr. Lee Newman. Excited about the fact that we were able to get our funding out of the University of Colorado and be able to put it into a bank. We chose Vectra Bank, which is a smaller regional bank. They are part of Zions Bank Corporation out of Utah, as our banking system. The reason we did so is because they assigned us an individual that I can go talk to whenever I need to. So I have a personal representative for our bank account. And they also have a lot of features that are more common with a larger banking institution as well. And so there have been a number of individuals on the Centers for Health Work and Environment team that have helped with this transition, including Dr. Newman, Dr. Lily Tenney, Sarah Higgins, and Sydney Shvekar from our finance and business administration team. And I just really want to thank them for all the help in moving funds from the University of Colorado into our own bank account, which is not as easy as it sounds. So thanks everyone for that. And we can move to the next slide. Thank you. Just a summary of 2025 finances. We are on a calendar year, a traditional calendar year, with January 1st being the first date of our fiscal year. As of the end of the third quarter, or September 30th, we raised just over $14,300, primarily in membership dues, and had offset that with just under $10,500 in expenses. And some of the bigger categories for expenses included general office expenses, which includes software, postage, and other general office expenses, some travel, and also scholarships for this symposium. And so our net income after the first three quarters was just over $3,800. And just one thing to note here is that the bulk of our revenue comes in between October and December. For those of you who remembered, we launched the Society for Total Worker Health on October 22nd, 2022 at the the third international symposium. And that was the date that so many people ended up joining, and from that date moving forward. So we're just approaching this week the bulk of our memberships coming in. And then finally, we do use QuickBooks as our banking accounting system, and that is linked up with our Vectra bank account. So it makes things somewhat easier from a management perspective. We can go on the next slide. We have just under $52,000 in the bank. We split our money between a checking account and a savings account, which is new for us, having moved into Vectra Bank. And one thing that this year's board of directors has decided is that we're going to try and continuously keep about 10% of our total revenue into a reserve or savings account at any given time. And so we're starting to build those coffers, and we will continue to move money into the savings account as we continue to gain funds as a society. I think there's one more slide, Serena. Thanks. When we think about priorities in 2026, and I know my colleagues on the board are going to discuss this as well, one of the big items that we've proposed is actually hiring a part-time contract worker to help us with some of the administrative tasks that, as a board, we really need support with. What we learned from 2025 is that our budget can sustain, some expenses, some regular expenses in it between the travel and the scholarships and our other commitments. And so we'd like to hire a part-time person with that knowledge that we can sustain some budget, some payouts against the budget. Our core operating budget is going to stay the same pretty much in 2026. And then one of the things that, with the help of the program manager and next year's board of directors, we'll need to discuss is how much funds we want to allocate towards travel and programming, which I know we're going to hear more about programming as well. So that's your treasurer's report for 2025. A look ahead for 2026. Many thanks to the board members on this call and to all of you joining us as well. And before I pass it on, I did see at least Christian Rathke join us from the federal government. If there are other federal government employees that are here, I just want to thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. I know that it must be, I can't even imagine how difficult it must be to be in the situation that you're currently in. And so to show up and to be here means a lot. It means a lot to us. It shows your strength, resilience, and your fortitude. And so for Christian and for any other federal government employees that are here, thank you. Thank you for continuously showing up.
Very well said. Thank you, David. So the bottom line is we are fiscally solid and continue to grow our financial reserves and operating finances. So no worries. Okay, the next uh, task is to ask Lily Tenney and Lindsay Maurer to talk about their committee, Programs Committee, 2025 and 2026.
Thanks, Christina. My name's Lily Tenney. I'm past president of the society and helped found the society and was so excited in 2022 to launch officially at the third International Symposium to Advance Total Worker Health. So it's just been such an honor to watch it it take shape and grow up a little bit, as you were saying, David. So in this last year as past president, I've been trying to support a strong transition. I've been so happy to have Lindsay Maurer, who you got to hear yesterday on our panel, um, in support of some of the programming that we've been doing. We've wanted to continue the connection with membership and building community through town halls. And obviously, the focus this year was for us to pull the symposium off. And so the last two symposiums were in partnership, of course, with NIOSH and our center, the Centers for Health, Work, and Environment, as organizers. And we're looking at a transition for the next symposium, if it holds with cadence every 3 years in 2028, to truly be the signature event of the society. And so we'll be looking to pass the torch on that and have the society really own that from start to finish. In We want to continue to get feedback from our membership, and I think I want to shout out Serena Rice too for having such just jumping in on communications. One of the things that we hear is that our members love hearing from us. And so I think continuing to have monthly board briefs, filling in membership, but also soliciting feedback from our membership has given us insight that members want an opportunity to connect, to learn from each other, and also to continue to grow our membership. We want to be able to reach new audiences. So the role that partnerships has played has been strong as well. We were at Work, Stress, and Health. Christina gave a great presentation, and David was there as well. So we'll be continuing to do that in this next year. Lindsay, I'll hand it off to you to talk about 2026 planning.
Thanks, Lily. If anything, I'll try to put a positive spin on the circus of a year that 2025 has tried to be for us, and that it did force reflection. I think that this board spent quite a bit of time reflecting on what we wanted the society to look like, including its sort of suite of programs, if you will. So I'm very excited about 2026. The hope is to host very regular events. Our schedules due to be approved by the board and kind of honed and polished before we release it to the membership. But the hope is to host a buffet of events, if you will, that will include peer learning series that both focus on both research and practice. The hope with those is to be able to feature our membership. And at least if we don't have a member featured, then we can certainly member or feature something that is interesting to the membership, something that will help us all grow. Um, Additionally, we're going to host town halls just to sort of, give a little bit of a pulse on what's going on in our industry to keep everybody informed. Additional education and programmings that we'll talk about, I think, a little bit later in the slide deck. A social gathering or two, at least in the year, just to bring us all together and connect. Hopefully, some satellite events in different areas where we can actually gather people in person. And I think it's going to be a great year. So I'm very excited to move forward with the society and offer you many programs that will hopefully grow you as a person and as a professional, and introduce you to people in our industry that you can make great things happen with. We are looking for people to join the programs and events committee as well. I will put my email in the chat. If you're interested in joining, or if you're interested in being featured in one of our peer learning events, then please feel free to reach out so that we can start fleshing out that program a little bit more.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Lily. And I can't thank you guys enough for what you do for the society. And Lily, your leadership has been superlative all the way through from the beginning, and even before the beginning when I met you, I think at the first or second international symposium. Always been a very impressive person, and I hope you will stay involved with us, even though you are moving off of past president status, because we really need you. If the social event that we held last night uh, portends what might be happening in the future in the social area for total worker health and even in the committee work that can be laid out. I think it'll be a tremendous year. There's a lot of enthusiasm and willingness for people to roll up their sleeves and make a lot of things happen. So I hope if you are interested in the programs committee and next in the membership and communications committee, as well as the advisory panel, please step forward because we'll make it worth your while because we'll get some really great things done. So now I am going to turn it over to Serena Rice and John Doney, who are running the membership and communications committee.
Thanks, Christina. Hi, everybody. I'm Serena Rice, and I work for the Center for the Promotion of Health in the New England Workplace. And there are really 3 tasks for this committee: membership recruitment, membership retainment, and engaging potential and current members with our communication efforts. Under membership recruitment, we've been working to build formal partnerships with other professional societies, and you're going to hear more about that later today. We're planning on doing targeted outreach and informal partnerships to make sure a broad scope of people know about our society. For example, engaging union leaders, worker advocates, policymakers, practitioners, and student groups in health-related fields. In membership retention, to keep members, they have to see their value in the membership. So to better understand what drives memberships to renew, we plan on surveying our membership by the end of the year. We'll also be surveying members to learn better what type of content you'd like to see from the society. And finally, we hope to build more opportunities for members to have informal discussions on topics that interest them. And that's where Lindsay's committee comes in. We'll be building some of those bridges together. And then finally, communications. Our goal with communications is to engage our members in a meaningful way across geographical divides. We plan to create a monthly newsletter so that you know not only what's going on in the society, but some of the events and work that is happening in the field of total worker health more broadly. Our society would be nothing without our members, so we'll be creating membership spotlights that will highlight the work of members across the society. So if you'd like to join this work and be a part of the communications and membership committee, please feel free to reach out to me. Right now, it's just me, and I'd love to have partners in creating this change together.
Thank you, Serena. And John, I think we'll be hearing from you in a few slides, but is there anything you would like to add here?
Not much. No, I would say thank you so much, Serena, for all the work you've been doing on this, and Christina for your guidance on it as well. This work has been a lot of my livelihood over the past 16, 17 years at National Safety Council and now with What Works. So I'm looking forward to really digging in on this and hopefully seeing a lot of your faces around those tables when we do.
And we're really looking forward to what you're going to plan for 2026. Okay. Before we get into, what's coming down the road, let's talk about who's going to be in charge. So we have President-elect Heidi Hudson here in our audience, who will take over in 2027, and Secretary Manish Barenji, and Manny, as she is well known. I don't know if Manny is here, but I'd like to congratulate Heidi and Manny and also Treasurer David Shapiro, who, we couldn't really move without his financial guidance. So we've got a great team elected. Plus, David Daniels is going to continue as the chair of the advisory panel. And I will continue as past president. So, and there is so many. Okay. So that's who you'll be looking at starting January 1. And let's go to the next slide. All right. So here comes the discussion about where are we going and why are we going there, which is a very important discussion. And I really hope you will jump in and contribute to this conversation. It does not need to be said too many times over, but we have faced an incredibly difficult time these last couple of years, just coming off the pandemic and then heading into the new political environment and all of the things that are happening with our federal agencies and all the consequences of losing scientists and researchers and practitioners associated with those agencies. We've had a very difficult time, and so there was a time early in the year where there was kind of a threat to the continuation of the total worker health approach. And the thought and discussion at that time was, what's going to happen if NIOSH isn't there to back us up? What is going to happen to the total worker health centers of excellence if they no longer have their funding? What is going to happen? Where is the glue? And so we talked as a board and talked to many people affiliated with the organization about what we could do. And so this is a plan in progress. So let's go to the next slide. So we all believe that we can create a path through this chaos in organizations and agencies and so on to preserve worker health, safety, and well-being. And what I'm going to describe is something, again, that is in process of development and for lots of people to join in and contribute their ideas. But here's a set of ideas. We can focus in 5 areas that I think are incredibly important and needed at this time. The society can be the hub, even though it's always been known as the hub, but it might be the hub for total worker health profession and everything that advances the profession and professionals who belong to it. So there are 5 developmental areas: programs and events, and you've heard a bit about the programs and events that have been planned by the programs committee. There's probably going to be more as we get into the kinds of things that we're going to talk about next. We want to expand the total worker health education programs and curricula, and in particular, we want to support the broader education of the education in total worker health to reach health-related and non-health-related professions so that there is a common understanding of what total worker health is and how all these different professional groups can contribute to it. We also want to advance the total worker health certification process because the more total worker health professionals certified, the more recognized this is as a profession, and the higher and broader the responsibilities that people with this certification can contribute to organizations. And with that, when we have more educated professionals in total worker health, we can develop even farther the careers of total worker health professionals. Right now, it's a hodgepodge of some entry level, some mid level, a few advanced, but there's no ladder. There's no concerted and systematic effort to create career development ladders for people in the profession. And this is a common thing that professional societies do, is that they take steps to ensure that there is career development of its members and enhances that career development through its own activities. And then finally, we need to develop a professional job placement system so that there is an easy place for employers to come and find certified and non-certified total worker health professionals to bring into their organizations, or to place individuals in consulting areas and in advisory areas and in government and so on. And the idea is, how can we develop a profession that is nationally recognized, highly visible, an easy win for organizations to adopt into their organizations, and gives professionals a predictable career in total worker health. We want to attract people in, and we want to attract employers to us, and we want to advance all of our professionals so that they can get the job and have the impact that they so deserve. So these are the 5 priorities. But again, we want to hear what you think. So let's go through each one. So what will it take to really beef up the total worker health education programs and curricula? Well, this has already started. You might have attended the pre-conference workshop that Suzanne Nobrega, Laura Lenan, Megan Davis, Katya Costa, and I'm gonna screw up her last name. I apologize. And Natalie Schwatka contributed to by taking an assessment of what we are offering, what competencies are being delivered, and whether they are the right ones. How can we reevaluate what the current needs are, how to deliver the educational programming to a broader group at a more visible level, and how can we develop competencies that go from entry level all the way up to advanced leadership. So we need to figure out what we need to do in order to make that happen. And the society can help by supporting the educational development of our professionals. We can, continue to work with professionals to identify what are the needs that will provide employment for them, and therefore what are the competencies that need to be developed, and what the educational curricula ought to be. The society can be the communication hub for professional development. So could actually be kind of education central by telling people, if this is what you're interested in, here's where you can go get it. Have all this information in one place so anybody interested in total worker health can easily find the programming that they need. And then the last thing is to figure out how we can scale up the offering of educational programming so that more people can be educated and certified and then join a society directory. All right, that's the education part. Now, in terms of total worker health certification, the society can help by, again, being kind of communication central and coordination with the various parties that offer certifications in total worker health. In other words, we could be the information desk for total worker health professionals who want to seek certification. And we can also keep all the documentation of who are the certified total worker health professionals. That might be useful in a directory of total worker health professionals for employers and other individuals who want to attract and recruit total worker health professionals who have specific certifications. Next slide. All right, so job placement. You know, to me, this is kind of icing on the cake, because what we need to do is create the urgency for the marketplace to come to society meetings and to come to headquarters and really look at who's part of this society and who do they need to recruit and retain in their organization. So we can help total worker health professionals hone their resumes and to hone their interviewing, can hone their job search process, and even have job interviews at society meetings. So this is, again, something that professional societies do, and it's something that we can do. Okay, so those are some ideas of what we can do. And so the question is there anybody out there who wants to sign up to work on any of these things? It will take a number of hands to think about how to do this. There are, fortunately, examples to follow. SHRM is one. There are plenty professional societies that have these kinds of programming. And we could do that if we dedicated some time to it. So let me just end my argument for putting the Society for Total Worker Health really on the map, and to attract people who come from health-related professions and also non-health related professions who are needed to support total worker health in their organizations. Okay, now let me turn it over to John Doney to talk about his goals for 2026.
Thanks, Christina. And really, I guess I should start by saying, nothing you see on here should be taken as a difference from the broad vision Christina is putting out there, because everything that's on all of those slides she just shared, and that encompassing vision of where we go and who we are as a society, very much of a piece with what I think everyone on the board believes and what I think a lot of us here believe and would like to see. Especially coming off this tough year, which Christina referenced. It's been hard for all of us, and I think as we get to the end of it, summoning up some optimism, thinking about the future, those big goals, definitely where we should be putting our brains. I really just want to break that down into a few tactical things that I, when you think of a 3-year or 5-year vision, and then you think of, the blocking and tackling to get there. Part of it is getting awareness, asking for people to raise up their hands and roll up their sleeves. And then it's going to be sort of corralling that effort and channeling it into, a project plan and a strategy and a milestone list that makes sense. And so, fortunately for me, that's what I grew up on, doing quality management and EHS management in the field. Was, it's a game of finding the time and parceling it out in the right way and optimizing it. So but, when I think about where we can go for 26, very specifically, very tactically, hearing from you all more is front and center for me. It's actually how I started my last year with this new effort I have with the What Works Institute, was just listening to folks tell me what they're struggling with, where they need us to show up, how we can be most useful to them right now. I imagine a lot of what we'll hear is going to mirror exactly what Christina just put forward, but we'll be able to then put some member prioritization sort of lenses on that. Are there really specific things, places we should start, places where value would be immediately noticeable, things like that. Rolling that all up, I'd like to, out of the first month or two, hopefully, have a full strategy together as much as we can. Doesn't need to be a full 3-year strategy, but certainly use that to get the year priorities straight. And hopefully by the end of the year, have a 3-year or longer term sort of extension or activation of that vision that Christina laid out, sort of put into place. And then that will slot out into, the specific things we might do every quarter, we might do every month. Christina mentioned a lot of that already, but I think for me, it's both the learning aspect and it's just giving everyone here a platform for social activities, which I'm sorry I missed last night. I'm having a tough time getting home from other daughter stuff, but I started this morning with my daughter throwing a little bit of a preschool fit on Friday. So we all know how that goes if we're parents. But really want to give everyone more of those opportunities, want to surface more ideas from you all, want you to feel like we're connected. I mean, that's really right now with the temperament of the country the way it is, I think it's really valuable for us all as professionals for our jobs to feel that sense of connection because it sustains us and helps us move forward. So that's kind of on the content tactical side. And then on the bottom 3 bullets, I think really what I'm representing for is thinking about how we get the envelope for the society a little bit bigger, right? We have a great focus on the core individuals we're serving here. We've heard folks already, come in with multiple folks from the same organization as members, where there's an entity out there, whether that's an ed center or whether that's an industry, player that really cares about this sort of thing and wants to use it to nurture the programs that they have in place in their organization or the maturity path they're going on. So I'd love to think about an offering that you could maybe even take as individual members and say, hey, is there anyone else in my organization who would want to be involved? What could that look like if my company wants to say, hey, we support this and we'll put some effort toward it. So that could look like organizational membership. It could look like sponsorship opportunities for some of these things that we want to do so that we can be bigger and better and provide more for you all. And part of that is, as David Shapiro mentioned earlier, the idea of using some of our cash reserve to bring on some support for the volunteer board and for all of you to help us wrangle all of this. So that's definitely in the cards for us to look at. And then I think Christina was doing some of this just yesterday, exploring partnership with established entities. There are other associations out there. There are other conglomerates of associations out there. There are small folks like us who also need visibility, awareness, and are aligned in their intent and their goals and what they're looking to do in the world. So any way we can serve you better as a membership, we want to do. So that includes having conversations with folks out there in the space who might be interested in helping. And then, Christina actually also did a little bit of this ad hoc today and in the past couple of days as we've been trying to get some things, ready for you here at the end of the year and make sure you understand where we've been. The quicker we can act for you, the better we're going to serve you. I was involved in some of the early bylaw decision making. I was advising the early group from the National Safety Council perspective on how to set up good operating bylaws and governance. And I've sort of realized in hindsight, coming from a 110-year-old organization with a lot of governance at the time, and applying it to a smaller society, maybe wasn't the best advice to give the society at the time. And now I'm sort of lying in that bed that I made a little bit. But I think that, nothing's a burden to us. We're doing this for the sense of, making sure we're transparent and beholden to member interest and financially good stewards of what we have from you all in terms of your support and contribution. So this is not to say that bylaws and governance are bad. But we have big ambitions for next year and the years beyond, as you've heard. So right sizing the way we do that is a part of making it work. So that's the kind of nuts and bolts of it. But again, I really think it's of a piece with what Christina shared and with what Serena shared earlier and David. And so we have very good alignment in where we're headed, and looking forward to doing that with a new leadership coming on board here in January.
And we're so glad you are. Okay. Serena, time check. When do we need to complete?
We have about 15 minutes left.
Terrific. All right. So now this is your meeting, folks. Please jump in. I don't know how to call on you. Maybe you're just going to have to jump in and say, I have a comment or I have a question. You know, one thing we really want to know is how do we increase value to you? So is it something we said already, or do you have some other things to talk about? Anybody want to start? This is the first hand up gets to talk.
If people raise their hands, I can call on them, Christina, because I can see them all.
Perfect.
So Robert.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Bob.
Yep.
How are
Hi.
you?
Hi, everybody. So glad to see your faces and chat with you online. Well, this actually, it's actually maybe more for David. It's kind of, I was worried about our revenue this year, given what's happened to the conference. And I know that, we are anticipating a fair amount of our revenue as a society, which then leads to our ability to do all the things we're talking about on the revenue from this conference. So I'm just curious, is this conference a big hit above and beyond what we expected, or are we okay as far as the revenue that's coming in from the meeting?
Sure. Thanks, Bob. No worries from our end. As a reminder, the society will take over the event in 2028. So we did not forecast any revenue for the society from the 2025 symposium anyway. So
Great.
no harm, no foul, and also no risk.
Super.
And by the way, Bob McClellan was the first chair of the advisory panel and led it competently and wonderfully until David Daniels took over. Thank you, Bob.
Go ahead, David, your hand's up.
Yes. Actually, this is more of a statement than a question to us as a group. I find that as small organizations become bigger, I think it's really important to continue to be focused on how we create systems that actually support our growth. And to do that, if we're going to be, and I think we are, as we become more multidisciplinary, we really have to be open to voices to voices from folks that we haven't necessarily known, haven't spent a lot of time in rooms with, but be open to that concept, because again, to get this concept of total work health is going to require, conversations with folks that we haven't talked a lot with. A lot of the issues that folks in occupations across this country are having, it's because they haven't had voice. They haven't had a place to go and talk and share their concerns. So again, that's just an encouragement to us as a society to continue to be open to things that we may not have done before. They're related to work. They're related to people's experiences. They may not have been ours, but they are real to people. And so we want to continue to be, as open and welcoming and, and an inviting place for people to participate. And as we do that, we're going to continue to grow and continue to make impact.
Yeah, thank you, David. I think Lee shares this sentiment. Lee Newman, being the first president of the society and capably carrying us forward to create this great organization, which has so many legs. It's just, figuring out how are we going to use them. So Lee, anything you want to say?
I'm just I'm reveling at the amazing turnout here, and I don't think that we could have envisioned how far this society has come, and and now to see it taking shape. So David, folks like you, the comments we've seen in the chat here already, I think we're off to a great start, and I do think it's an ambitious agenda for this coming year. But now there's the size of this membership suggests that we could probably, under John's leadership, this year formulate some of these committees that are small and aggressive in tackling those goals. It's a good time to start picking it up to a trot. So I like that. Very proud of you all. I have to hop off, by the way, to prep for the fireside chat, which starts in a few minutes. So I'm going to sign off here. Thank you for giving me a chance to say a few words.
Thank you, Lee. One thing that we all have to acknowledge is that total worker health is the best end-to-end solution to employee health, safety, well-being, and productivity. There's just nothing else that is this inclusive across all of the professional groups that have a part in preventing harms, both physical and psychosocial, and promoting well-being, both physical and psychosocial. So we tend to act as a member of a single silo, but in fact, we're all partners in this, and everybody is needed in order to complete that end-to-end approach to supporting employee health, safety, well-being, and productivity. So let's hear some more from you. Anybody else? Megan, can I pick on you?
You can pick on me.
Okay, so what you're doing at Johns Hopkins is amazing. And having all of these courses, these educational programs that last an hour to weeks, to educate people in the various areas of total worker health and the related fields. We need, and you and I have talked about this before, we need to really make this a go-to place for everyone who can come in, and they're free, right? By and large.
Yeah, some of them are free, some of them are through the graduate programs. But I think one of the things that we've been thinking about is, could we have resources that are free in terms of really raising the awareness of total worker health and starting people from beginner maybe into intermediate, and that could then be tied into things like a cost recovery model if someone needs CE for licensure, that they could then pay for the CE, but that they could get the learnings regardless of whether or not they want to go through that pay process.
This is really a wonderful approach. If we can take all of the parties, the 47 courses that we have identified in total worker health spread across the country, if there is a way to open up those courses to broader audiences and multiply their effect, can you imagine what that could do? It's really incredible. And
yeah, although I think we do need to do some work thinking about our audience, right? I mean, I always start with audience and who needs their awareness raised, and what is kind of the best way to do that. Is this something that we can then, just like it's like Ragu, it's in there, you add it into things that they're already interested to do. So someone goes for spirometry training, but they also get this wraparound that introduces them to the concepts and to some of the other factors that may be really important for them to think about from a total worker health perspective. So thinking about each and every audience is, I think, really, really critical.
Bob, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just, something that I did not see as a goal that I think is very much needed. And recognizing that we're a 501c3 organization is a need for advocacy. Call it briefing, call it what you will, but as some of you may know, my professional discipline, occupational medicine, is in dire straits given lack of funding for residency. And, obviously OSH in general is at risk given the current regulatory environment. So I just think we should, as a society, because power comes in numbers, of course, when we talk about a collaboration and we represent so many different disciplines, that there's a real opportunity to bring numbers together from different organizations through the society for advocacy purposes.
Jen Cavallari.
Hi, thank you. The Society has done an amazing job at bringing lots of different professionals together. And one thing that I'm kind of curious about that I think is a real value is perhaps offering professional development or skill development courses that monopolize on the diversity of the society members. So I'm thinking something like communication, right? Whether you're in the clinical field, the practice, the research side, that's something that is of value across disciplines. I would love to see that through the society, just as a way to convene that multidisciplinary groups, and I think it'd be really fun.
Excellent idea. There are several soft skills that are going to be important going forward. And we could make a list of which ones they are and then develop courses for the society members. One is interdisciplinary teaming, but that is a long topic for me. So Megan and Laura Linan, anything you want to say about how people can find what courses are being offered where and which ones are open to people outside of the universities or the agencies that are hosting those courses?
I can just jump in and say that we had a great pre-conference workshop. And those of you that were not able to attend, the materials are still up. I believe, oh, maybe not. We'll have to figure that out. We'll need some help to get those out. But there's a handout that actually Suzanne and Christina did a great survey of programs from around the country that gives you detailed information about, are they for beginner, advanced, intermediate, and who they are and who the contacts are and what the structure of the programs are and so on. So that's really a go-to resource. And I think one of the deliverables from our workshop was to try to put a manuscript together. That takes time and people are, I think, eager to jump on this now. So I love the idea of the society taking on some kind of subcommittee or task force or something to really advance this work because I put in the chat earlier, it'd be great to have the society sponsor something that was like an introductory to total worker health that everybody in every other organization could use to augment what they're doing on training at any time. Because we still need to really educate what total worker health is all about. There's still so many people that don't know what it is, don't really understand what it is, and we lose people right out of the gate because of that. So I think there's a number of really key deliverables the society could help with. I'd really love to be a part of that. And I know, we had a lot of interest from people on this call, as well as some of the folks that came to the workshop to really advance that work. So I'm excited about it.
As past president, I'll help shepherd that through the society. So we're 2 minutes to the end. Any final comments?
I just want to say that both me and Megan put the handout that Laura was just mentioning in the chat, so you're able to download that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Serena and Megan. Any final thoughts? Well, I couldn't be more proud to be your president this year. And I was hoping to accomplish more. But, it is what it is with what we're dealing with. But we had a really successful Total Worker Health Symposium. I think hands down, we were really fortunate to have the team working so hard to make this a fabulous exchange of information and knowledge and support. So thank you. And thank you, members of the society. We can't do this without you, but we really want to get you more involved in what we're doing. And so I'm here to support all of you in any way we can. All right. Have a great day.